This episode of The Gaming Outsider is brought to you by eWin Racing, the home of the best heavy-duty gaming chairs. I can tell you from personal experience that I've never sat in a more comfortable chair at my desk. eWin Racing has chairs for gamers of all sizes, too. As a Gaming Outsider listener, you can get 20% off your purchase using our promo code TGO at ewinracing.com. eWin Racing, the best gaming chairs out there.
What's up, y'all? This is Mara Juno, and you might know me from World of Warcraft as Illyria Windrunner or The Walking Dead game as Krista, among a few others. And you're listening to the man, the legend, the Scott Clark, and The Gaming Outsider.
Welcome back to The Gaming Outsider. On this week's episode, we're taking a deep dive into the Sony Showcase that live streamed this week. In news, Nintendo patched Tears of the Kingdom to get rid of an exploitable glitch. Alyssa got a chance to play the latest game in the Warhammer 40k series called Boltgun, and she also played another interactive novel game called Ghostpia. Finally, Chris Owen stops by to talk about a game called Batboy, and Sean Coates also played a party game called Home Sheep Home. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Sunday, May 28th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Zack Parkerson.
Oh, hey, man. I have not had enough of you today.
I know, right? And also Alyssa White.
I'm weird today.
We're all weird every day, Alyssa. It is totally fine.
Extremely weird today.
I think you're exceptionally weird, and I love it.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you love it.
We wouldn't want you any other way, Alyssa. Weird is wonderful. Real quick reminder, everybody, you've heard us talk about it every week, but R2V2 is coming back in October, on the 14th to be exact. We got Sissy Jones coming back. John St. John is going to be joining us for the first time. Lots of vendors selling video games. VR headsets are going to be there to play. CB's retro collection will be there if you want to see some rare stuff and play some rare stuff. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. And we will hopefully have more details up on the site this week. Let's go ahead and jump right into the games that we've been catching up on. Zach, we'll start with you.
Sure, I beat Hogwarts Legacy. So it's another game down.
Nice.
It's a very good game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it. You're doing the open world stuff. It's interesting. I feel like is often the case with open world checklisty open world games like this. Is the main story is to take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets somewhat interesting by the end, but it never actually gets all the way interesting. But all the companion side quests along the way are interesting. There's one kid's starting to get into the dark arts, another kid really hates poachers. It's just that's all good. I feel like that's usually where the good stuff is in open world games anyway, the character stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really, really like this game. I didn't expect to like it this much going into it.
That's awesome, man. That's one I would love to get back into.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that and Resident Evil and
Resident Evil's so good.
That's just my list of shame is getting bigger and bigger every week. It's unfortunate. So
yeah, I did also finally see the Mario movie.
Oh, hey, yeah.
I still need to watch that.
Well, as I was saying a little bit before the show, it's the best commercial I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
it's still good though. It's still entertaining.
It's fun. It's total fluff, But there are a lot of deep Easter eggs and references, but there's not really much of a movie there. And you can't really use it's a kids movie defense because it doesn't even have as much going on as like a Despicable Me,
right?
Which is the same studio. It's just there's really nothing happening in this movie.
No, I know. I love how they just like kind of forced the carts into there.
Right, the Kongs, famous for their cart loving.
Yeah, it's just so random.
I did like having Cranky Kong be the king and Donkey Kong being his son. That was cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing I got excited about most of the entire movie is when after the DK rap, they go to the people cheering for DK, and it's all his little sidekicks from all the games.
Yeah,
I was like, oh hey, it's the Kong gang.
There's lots of little touches like that because I actually bought the movie digitally so that I could watch it with my students. We had like a movie day, and we were watching it. And first off, I was super impressed. They actually recognized Charles Martinet's voice.
Oh, okay.
They're like, hey, that's not that. Isn't that the guy that did Mario originally? And I was like, yeah, that's my
proud teacher moment.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So
I do want to say one major criticism if I may. At the very beginning of the movie, they do that commercial where they do the exaggerated Italian accents.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually what I want the movie to sound like.
I feel like for 90 minutes that would have got old.
I just don't think Mario or Luigi say enough for that to be the case. Because I've heard that argument, but it's not like they're chatty Cathys. They pretty much just say, like, we need to go to the Kongland. That's all it's like they don't say anything important anyway.
I thought that what they did to still get it in there was a pretty clever way to do that.
Yeah.
Like to have it be a commercial so it's still there, but it's not for the whole movie.
I felt immediately dejected because they opened with that, and I was like, holy crap, actually, I was wrong, dude. Chris Pratt can do it. They must have used the bad stuff for the trailers. And then he just like goes into sounding like Chris Pratt, and I was like, all right. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
I also didn't love... I didn't really love Charlie Day as Luigi either because he wasn't really doing anything. It was just so jarring to see these characters who for 30 or 40 years have just been like, wahoo! To all of a sudden just sound like the popular actors of today.
Yeah.
It was pretty jarring. But Jack Black as Bowser killed it.
He did.
Keegan-Michael Key
He does kill it.
as Toad also killed it.
Did you have that song stuck in your head for weeks like I did?
The Peaches song or whatever?
Yeah.
No. It's like 5 seconds long.
I know. Well, they do a longer version of it.
At the credits?
At the end, yeah.
I haven't even seen it, but I heard that song so many times on TikTok, it did get stuck in my head.
Yeah.
You know the best character in the movie is that Galaxy Star. Super Mario Galaxy is just like, another piece of meat for the grinder. He's like so happy that everyone's dying. That kid was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Alyssa, what about you? Catch up on anything this week?
I finally beat Jedi Survivor, so we could do the spoiler cast.
Nice.
And as soon as I beat it, I texted Zack. I'm like, I finished it. I'm like, but it made me sad. I'm not gonna say anything else. But I had a good time with it. Story's weaker than Fallen Order, but the combat
by like a lot though.
Yeah. Love the combat though. Love the gameplay. The story did get a little stronger towards the end. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
How disappointing was that final area?
I know. I wanted to explore more.
It gets talked up the entire game, and then it's just a 5-minute corridor.
I did return back after I finished the game.
Same.
But you still can't do much.
No.
It's so pretty.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything. It's just, I don't know. Imagine if they were talking about the Temple of or Ganondorf's castle, right? In Zelda for 40 hours. Then you get there and you just open the door. You just walk down a hallway to the other door. And then that's the entire castle.
Man, that stinks.
Yeah. That would be pretty disappointing.
Too bad. That's my third one. That's a pile of shame this week. Hogwarts, Resident Evil 4, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Well, Resident Evil 4 is the easiest to get through.
You think so?
Well,
I get so worried that game is going to get tough for me.
I mean, yeah, I guess in terms of difficulty, it's not the easiest, but it's only 15 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. I still want to play the others too. So summer, I'm gonna buckle down and sit down and spend a lot of time playing games this summer instead of chopping firewood.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with Diablo coming out soon? And you also got Zelda going on. They got Final Fantasy 16 like 2 weeks after Diablo.
I want to get through the main story in Zelda so bad before Zelda comes out. I don't know if I can do it because I also have to do my report cards this week, and that's just such a massive task.
Couldn't be worse timing for a teacher. The release of Diablo 4.
Seriously, Diablo 4 and Zelda, plus like all the R2V2 planning. I gotta do all that. There's just too much to do, man. There's just too much to do. Alyssa, anything else you've been playing?
I did play the Alone in the Dark prologue, which I don't want to say too much about because it's only 15-ish minutes long.
Oh, okay. Really?
This is a new one, right?
It is. But I will say, it did intrigue me enough that I wanted to play more. Like, I was like, that's it? I can't play anymore?
Oh, that's good. I didn't realize it was so short. I have it downloaded. It's like 16 gigs.
It was a big download. Yeah.
For 15 minutes. Tears of the Kingdom is 16 gigs.
It does look really good. Well, I played it on Series X.
Right.
I will say the collision detection, though, is very accurate. You could basically just bump into something and books will fly everywhere. Or there was a rocking horse in her bedroom. You play as a little girl, and I barely touched it, and it just started rocking. I'm like, whoa, Everything I touch is moving.
Damn, I really thought it was going to be longer. That's why I haven't played it yet. I thought it was going to be like a hour or two.
It's only 15, maybe 20 minutes. And you do get a peek at who is in the game, which we'll talk, I think is in the news.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I do recommend playing it if you're interested in it, because it does give you a teaser.
Speaking of spooky games, did you guys also see that trailer for the new Layers of Fear game?
Did.
Which they're just calling Layers of Fear. It's not like Layers of Fear 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
I think the original title for this was Layers of Fears. But
Correct.
then they got rid of the S at the end. So now it's the same title as the first game.
You know what's so funny? Because, that was announced as Layers of Fears, but it was a nonsense title, right? So they changed it to Layer of Fear. And then you remember that Lords of the Fallen, where they announced it as the Lords of the Fallen, and they got rid of the "the." So weird.
Yeah. Well, anyway, my point was that trailer looks really good in terms of like how detailed that game looks, which I didn't play through the last one, but I feel like it wasn't a high level of detail in the first game. I don't know. Spooky titles are still a thing. That's pretty awesome.
That's Bloober Team, right?
Yes.
I thought the medium was great.
I didn't play that one either. That was one of the early Game Pass titles, wasn't it? Like
right.
One of the first games that actually you got to play without having to pay anything extra.
Yeah, I think I bought it on PS5 because I didn't have an Xbox Series console at the time, and it was one of the incredibly rare Series exclusives.
Ah, okay.
Couldn't play it on Xbox One.
I jumped back into Golf with Friends with Joel this weekend. We were going to play. We were going to play Gears Judgment. We beat. Did I talk about beating Gears Judgment last week?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
We just had to. We're still working through like the extra DLC mission or whatever, and we were going to jump into Gears 4, but Joel forgot to download it, so we wound up playing Golf with Friends instead. And it turns out there's a new DLC pack for it this week, so we bought it was like $2 or whatever. They give you an extra course, and this one is all based on a fun house. And boy, cool. is that some tricky maneuvering to do that. We need to do another community night because that is such a perfect game to play with any size group.
Oh, it is.
Because you're not like waiting turns for everybody. That's great. But yeah, we got that. There's actually 2 packs we got. It was that one, and there was another one that was I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Spooky Mansion one. But what a great little game in terms of super simplistic controls, but just like anything can happen. The physics are just really crazy in that game. So looking forward to getting back into Gears 4, like I mentioned last week, because Joel hasn't played it. But with it being the first one in the current generation of Xboxes, it's going to be quite a jump.
It'll be the first non-Blazinski one, right?
I believe so. Yeah, 3 was. Yeah. Well, no, People Can Fly did Judgment.
No, but he and Rod Ferguson they would still be involved in the franchise at that time, right?
I can't remember the timeline.
Okay.
I feel like that's something you know better than I do.
I'm pretty sure Cliffy B was still there, but I could be wrong. Either way, yeah, it's the first one where they take the characters that were created, and put them into something new.
Right. Yeah.
And Marcus really cares about his tomatoes. I remember.
Yeah, I remember that too. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Couple new trailers to talk about. First off, Total War Pharaoh was dropped this week, which is coming to PC in October. A lot of people are excited about that one. Another DLC pack for Power Wash Simulator. This time they are crossing paths with Warhammer 40K. That's happening this summer. Boy, that just seems odd, like an odd combination to me, but you do you.
What a hit Square Enix has on their hands with this game, huh?
Right? The second patch for Tears of the Kingdom dropped this week. The Last of Us multiplayer is going to be delayed. We got the stars for the Alone in the Dark reboot, which Alyssa alluded to a minute ago, and a movie based on the life of John Madden is in the works, and you won't believe who is in talks to be playing John Madden. But let's go ahead and kick things off with Alyssa. Which story do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the one that I have the most knowledge of at the moment, and that is who is going to be in the Alone in the Dark reboot. The stars will be David Harbour and Jodie Comer. And is that
a Doctor Who?
Jodie Comer was in Killing Eve and Free Guy, and then David Harbour, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Jodie Comer was also in The Last Duel, which is a phenomenal movie.
She was. I love that movie.
Yeah. Great movie.
That one.
Really good.
You haven't seen Scott. It stars Matt Damon, Adam Driver, directed by Ridley Scott.
Ben Affleck.
Matt
Damon
in
and
it.
Ben Affleck bounce off each other again in it.
Right. Yeah, that was a big reunion. Yeah, Ridley Scott, man. Come on. Yeah, but Jodie Comer she's the main character of it. It's great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, she's a wonderful actress.
I have to look into that. But yeah, October 25th, just in time for Halloween. Like Alyssa said, the prologue is available now, and it's developed by Pieces Interactive.
Probably Pisces. Or is it Pieces? Oh.
I think it's Pieces. Because when I played the prologue, it looked like
right.
it said Pieces Interactive.
It's just, that didn't sound, fancy enough for a game developer.
Yeah. I will say, in the prologue, I did have 3 jump scares.
That's
really? In 15 minutes,
but I'm also prone to jump scares.
Oh, okay.
Scaredy cat.
The little girl in the game had more chill than I did.
Nice. Zach, I remember actually talking to you. One of the first interactions I ever had with you, like when I first met you, was you talking about the 360 version of Alone in the Dark.
Oh, really?
And saying how much you liked it.
That's great.
Because I don't know why that stuck out to me. That was one of the, when you and I first started talking, you were probably still a kid at that point.
Yeah, I think I was 17 or 18 when that game came out.
Yeah. And I remember people not liking that game, and you said you thought it was a damn fine game or something like that. It was a long time ago. But
it's interesting that it would stick out to you so much. Yeah, that game was a nonstop bevy of new ideas. It was freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
I remember the inventory system was like you would open up your jacket and you would just like look inside of it. So you had to have like the actual pocket space to put stuff. But you could also do stuff where you could like, if you had a bottle of water, you could like dump it out and then fill it up with some gasoline tank that you would actually have to puncture from a car and fill up a bottle. Then you could like, if you wanted to, you could get some tape and then wrap it around the bottle so that you could stick, like an explosive to it. So you can make a little grenade basically.
Nice.
And it just had all these cool ideas like that constantly. But it was the controls were definitely rough because they did that thing where it was kind of in vogue where the right analog stick was also your actions or whatever. You were like Team Human where you'd use it to fight.
Yeah.
But in this game, you would use it to like 1-to-1 move stuff around like Skyward Sword.
Ugh.
But you'd have to use it in kind of cool ways where you'd have to like, take a shovel to like fish a wire out of a puddle or something like that. You'd actually have to use it for puzzles. It was pretty cool, but it was a lot to get used to. But if you could get used to it, there was so much innovation in that game. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Yeah, so I love Alone in the Dark. I like the originals too, like the 1992 one and New Nightmare, all that stuff. So I'm pretty excited for this reboot. Unfortunately, it comes out the week after Alan Wake 2, so I don't know if I'm going to have it. I don't know if it's going to fit in my schedule.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2 is going to take priority for me. So.
Yeah.
I got to decide if I'm going to go back and replay Alan Wake or just watch a recap.
It's only like 8 or 10 hours, right?
Yeah,
I know.
I feel it's a pretty short game.
And I never finished the DLC either. American Nightmare.
I don't know if you need to
something.
finish the DLC.
Well, the the actual DLC to the game, maybe, but you don't need to play American Nightmare.
Yeah, that was what I was referring to. American Nightmare.
Yeah, because there's one piece of information that's relevant at the end that I could just tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Alan Wake is phenomenal, and I like that it almost seems, at least the vibes I'm getting from we'll talk about that later. What am I doing? There's a whole PlayStation Showcase later to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, what am I doing?
Well, Zach, what story do you want to talk about?
Well, since it took the exciting Alone in the Dark remake, I guess I'll just keep dunking on PlayStation, despite being the only guy who plays on PlayStation every single day. But The Last of Us multiplayer is delayed. No surprise there, since it was absent from the showcase, which makes no sense. This game was announced alongside The Last of Us Part 2. So what are they doing? They put out a statement. The Last of Us fans, we know many of you have been looking forward to hearing more about our The Last of Us multiplayer game. We're incredibly proud of the job our studio has done thus far, but as development has continued, we've realized what is best for the game is to give it more time. Our team will continue to work on the project as well as other games in development, including a brand new single-player experience. We look forward to sharing more soon. We're grateful to our fantastic community for your support. Thank you for your passion and for our games. It continues to drive us. Naughty Dog. And there's also a report out of Bloomberg that this game is in absolute development hell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys read that. So, and Bloomberg,
I read the first paragraph because I can't read anything more without subscribing anymore.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
But it's looking pretty dire. It's almost like every time they've taken a single player studio and tried to force them to make a multiplayer live service game, it's been disastrous.
Yeah.
But they sure do keep trying, huh?
Do you think this single player game they're talking about, it's got to be the Uncharted game that you claimed was 100% going to be at the...
I think it's The Last of Us Part 3.
Oh, do you? Okay.
No, I don't think Uncharted is being handled by Naughty Dog.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's Sony San Diego, personally, who's the people who make MLB The Show, but they hired for single player staff a couple years ago, and a narrative lead. Those are positions you don't really need for a baseball game.
It's true. Well,
so they're obviously they're making something else. There's no denying. I just think I think it is Uncharted.
Last of Us 3 again. I kind of feel the same way I did at the end of 2, like where I don't need another one, but I'm ready to be proven wrong like I was last time.
See, it's so fascinating because at the end of the first game, I was like, "Don't touch it; it's perfect." Not at the end of the second game, I was like, "Yeah, there's a little bit more story you need to tell here."
Mm-hmm.
I need to see where Ellie is, I guess.
Yeah, and they got to crank out more HBO seasons
too.
Right.
So
right, yeah, they can only stretch the second game into 2 or 3 seasons, so you gotta give them more content.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I mean, not that I'm interested in the multiplayer anyway, but I would much rather these developers just admit, look, we gotta make sure that we're not having a Redfall on our hands. You know what I mean? Which again, I haven't played that game, but it was just blasted so hard on social media and everything. So
I think they should just cut their losses personally, but because you look at Crystal Dynamics, right? They were forced to make a service game. Avengers came from that. BioWare forced to make a service game. We got Anthem. I just don't think Naughty Dog is a team to give us some kind of lasting multiplayer experience. They've made good multiplayer games before, right? Factions was awesome in The Last of Us, or even the Uncharted multiplayer is fun. But this is just not a team designed to make the game that it sounds like this is.
Right.
I want to be wrong. I want it to be great. I would love I think The Last of Us makes a lot of sense in multiplayer. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I got to talk, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do both of these stories. I got to talk about both of them. But very quickly, I didn't even mention it in the games I've been playing, but I've obviously been playing more Tears of the Kingdom. I'm up to 49 shrines. I found all the towers, and I've taken down 2 of the 4 temples. So I'm making good progress, but it's going to be a long road to get this done before Diablo comes out, and I don't want it to end. That's part of it. Is
right? Yeah, don't force it. Have fun with it. It's your baby, man. It's Zelda.
It's just I know that if I roll credits on it, I'm just never going to go back and do any of the more exploring and stuff. I'm not saying I want to go get all the Korok seeds, but I just keep running past things that look interesting right now just because I'm trying to get to the temples quickly.
No,
or trying to
don't
get
do
to
that,
the
man.
towers.
You're ruining the experience. Come on.
Yeah.
Savor it. You
just
deserve
want to kind of wander. But
right. CB already beat it, so you're not racing him anymore.
I wasn't racing him to begin with. But
no, what he probably thought you were.
But anyway, there's this story about this patch that came out because I don't know if you guys knew there was a glitch in the game that people were exploiting where you could like take any item and duplicate it as many times as you want. It's actually really easy to do. I haven't tried it just because I kind of don't like to break the game that way, but more or less you in this game you can actually hold up to 5 of the same item in your hand at one time. And if you do that while you are gliding in the paraglider thing or whatever, hold 5 items and then drop them, they will not be removed from your inventory. So you just kind of drop, pause, put 5 in your hand, drop them, pause, grab 5 more, drop them.
That's very easy to do.
And then, you go pick them up and they're just like right there for you.
Can you do it with a Master Sword?
I don't know. I don't have the Master Sword.
Okay.
But what people are using it for, or because in order to get rupees in this game, you kind of have to. There's not rupees just lying around like in most Zelda games where you pick up a pot and there's just some rupees in there, or you really have to earn them by either doing side quests or selling precious gems that you find. So people will get these really valuable diamonds and just dupe them over and over again. I was talking to one of our listeners this week that said that he's sitting on like 50,000 rupees or something like that. He's got friends that are sitting on 400,000 rupees.
Yeah, I'll never understand why that stuff's fun.
I mean, if you're trying to blast through the game quickly, like I thought I was, but I think I've kind of resigned to. I want to soak this up and go explore. And
you want to enjoy it instead?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Nintendo fixed the glitch this week. They offered a 1.1.2 patch, which is the second patch they've done for the game. They got rid of it. Now people are able to keep from installing that update as long as you don't have automatic updates set on your Switch, and I don't have automatic updates set on my Switch, so every time I go play the game, I have to click, play the game anyway instead of just in case. I haven't decided if I want to exploit it, but part of me says I don't want to. I don't know. Feels like it ruins the economy, but
it does. Anyway. It does ruin the economy. There's no getting around that. It's just whether or not that's fun for you.
Right. I just sometimes I just don't want to have to work for that extra armor. I just would like to, get the armor that lets me climb up these slick mountains, or get the armor that lets me go to the hot areas without having to eat something cold. Because I really hate that part of games in general. It's not egregious in Tears of the Kingdom, and I think the reason it's not is that I was expecting it. When I played Breath of the Wild, it was all brand new to me. Like, what is this? What do you mean my weapon breaks? You know what I mean? And now that I was mentally prepared for it, it doesn't feel as bad. So
I wonder if that's why people are less bothered by it in Tears of the Kingdom.
I honestly think that's what it is, because it wasn't a surprise this time around. So, and then I have to mention this just because this is interesting. The movie on Madden. John Madden is supposedly going to be played by Will Ferrell. Now, I am of the persuasion, ever since The Dark Knight, when Heath Ledger was cast as Joker, and we all kind of went, what? And then it wound up being like one of the most amazing things ever. I'm one of those that reserves judgment now until I at least see a screenshot or a trailer or something. I cannot wrap my head around Will Ferrell as John Madden, and I don't know him like super close like I do other characters. I just don't see it, and I'm trying. Do you guys have thoughts?
I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell fan in the first place, but I will say he did do a really good job in Stranger Than Fiction, which is a more serious role. So I could see him playing a more serious role like this. But
such a good movie.
Again, I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, so I don't know much about John Madden because I'm just not into sports that much. So I don't really have any thoughts or opinions on it.
Okay, Zach?
Yeah, I do think Will Ferrell has some more dramatic chops he doesn't share, whether it's Stranger Than Fiction, which is one of my comfort movies for sure. But also there's this movie called Everything Must Go, where he comes home after a business trip and his wife has sold the house out from under him, essentially. So all of his stuff is on the yard. So he's using the last days before the new owners come to basically try to sell everything from his yard sale to everybody to make some money to get his own place. But that is treated, that is another movie where he's doing serious acting, and he's good there too. So I don't doubt that he could be a good actor. But Will Ferrell as John Madden sounds like an SNL skit. Yeah. It's not a combination of character to actor you would expect. I think there's an exciting movie about the idea of Madden and how he got to get his name on the video game. I think that there's a lot of potential there, like a movie like Air. But for Madden, I think that could be really strong. I can't really see Will Ferrell being the lead of that movie, and I hate to poo-poo on him. But I mean, I like David O. Russell. I feel like people don't like him for some reason.
I do like his movies. I haven't seen Amsterdam, but I love Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, Joy.
Yeah, I love Silver Linings Playbook. I mean,
that's one
great.
of my favorite comfort movies. Yeah.
And the fact that he's directing it gives me hope that this is not going to be a comedy. It's not going to be a typical Will Ferrell romp. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't make romps, David O. Russell.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like it's going to be a serious movie, and I've missed seeing Will Ferrell play something more serious. I just don't know if John Madden is what I wanted. Are they going to uncurl his hair? You know what I mean? Like,
right. And are you going to be able to unsee that it's Will Ferrell?
Right.
Like I know, was it Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny? Just did a dramatic little indie movie about the BlackBerry.
Oh, okay.
and it was pretty jarring, but he was all bald and stuff in it. It was pretty crazy. But so I'm saying it's not impossible. It just seems a little tricky. But like you said, every time I've crapped on a casting before a movie, I've been proven wrong.
Right.
Except for
I want to be proven wrong.
Chris Pratt was like Mario.
He wasn't terrible.
No, he was fine.
That's exactly what I said. He was fine.
Yeah. I know.
Wasn't great. Wasn't terrible.
But don't you want the most iconic video game character in history to be great?
Yeah.
So that's disappointing.
But in today's day and age, they just can't do that. They could not have an entire movie of an Italian stereotype voice.
Well, I think that they could for Mario, but even if they couldn't, you could still get somebody who's trying.
Oh, by the way, look up the Japanese voiceover for Mario in that movie. There's a scene where he's speaking. He has the most sultry voice.
Oh.
Just the tone. And the way he says, it's a me. But
it's a me.
Yeah, it's look Mario. Up on YouTube or something, the Japanese voiceover for it. It's just, it sounds like that.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It sounds really sultry. I'm like, what?
And then funny. Luigi comes in. Oh yeah.
Now I'm wondering how everyone sounds in the Japanese version of this movie.
Yeah, I'm going to go look it up. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into some quick housekeeping. I want to remind everybody about our Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show, you can do so over at patreon.com/thegocast. We don't pay ourselves a dime. It all goes towards the show, towards purchasing games to review and then give away to the community. And anything left over goes into the coffers to help pay for R2V2. We've got currently the Desert Island Games episode is available with David Newman. And by the time this episode is up, you should hear our second Peace of Mind episode with these two lovely people right here.
Oh, thank you.
It was, I think we spent a good hour just sitting talking about whatever. So hopefully you guys like those because we don't really have a whole agenda. We just kind of sit and talk for a couple hours about whatever topic. But in the meantime, also coming up, Alyssa mentioned the spoiler cast for Star Wars Jedi Survivors. I think CB and I are going to do a spoiler cast for Tears of the Kingdom next month as well. And we've got a possibility for another Desert Island episode with a special guest, Zack, right?
Special guest indeed, if it comes together, yeah.
If it comes together, it's a little tricky with some time zone situations, especially 3 different time zones makes things pretty interesting. But again, it really does help us out. So if you would consider it, would like some bonus content, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. You can sign up today, and we'll get you hooked up with those extra episodes. In the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, what am I going to ignore this week because I'm too busy playing Tears of the Kingdom again?
Well, you might be ignoring it, but the fighting game community is about to lose its mind for Street Fighter 6, going to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and PC June 2nd. Shantae, the original Shantae, finally makes its way to PS5 and PS4 on June 2nd. Super Mega Baseball 4 makes its way to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC June 2nd. We Love Katamari Reroll and plus Roller Reverie. I assume that's some sort of DLC or something. Coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC June 2nd. I know that people love Katamari, man.
Mm-hmm. Still.
Somehow. The Devil Rises with Diablo 4 coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC June 6th. Horror game. This is a World War I take on Amnesia. Amnesia the Bunker comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, PC June 6th. This is a game, a little visual novel that seems like it has Alyssa written all over it to me, or I guess it's a little RPG-ish as well. But Loop 8 Summer of Gods comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC June 6th. Horror game Senses Midnight comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and Switch June 7th. 2D action game Nocturnal comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC June 7th. And finally, Harmony, The Fall of Reverie makes its way to Switch and PC June 8th. Scott, you're ignoring all of these games, right?
No.
No? Not even Diablo 4?
Diablo 4 is not going to get ignored. I will be playing Diablo 4 for sure. Problem is whether or not I'm going to finish Tears of the Kingdom before that, And the other problem is that comes out on the 6th. I leave town on the 10th for a week.
Right.
And I'm not going to have access to Diablo 4 while everybody else is just going to be loads and loads of levels ahead of me by the time I get back. That sucks. That really sucks, man.
Well, I'm not going to be able to afford it at launch, so we can play it together later.
Okay, cool. Let's do that then. It's a date. I'll wake up at 3 a.m.
Great.
I'll be on some break at that point. So
buy it because June 6th is a tough day for me. So I'd just be crying when we played. So I'll wait.
Oh, okay.
Damn. Okay. 666, right? 666. I didn't realize it was online only, man. I really don't like
either.
It's always online, even if you're playing single player. I hate that.
I was talking to Jordan, one of our listeners, who said that there's actually PvP areas in this game that are required even if you're playing just the campaign, which I do not like if that's true. I have not confirmed it. I'm not saying Jordan would lie about it, but
right.
I don't want to play against people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's got a season pass structure. That kind of sucks too. It's kind of a lot. The gameplay seemed fun, but I don't know. All the stuff surrounding it feels a little icky.
Yeah.
It's got real mobile game energy.
I hope. Don't say that, man. You're scaring me.
What? Always online, season pass structure, microtransactions. How is that not everything we hate about mobile games?
I know.
You're just being honest. Like what I played of it.
Me too.
Alyssa, what's standing out to you on this list?
Diablo, but again, I'm probably not gonna play it at launch. Loot bait, like you said, does look interesting to me. I did notice there was some jitteriness in some of the not cutscenes, but the battle scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little leery about that in the trailer. That could be fixed by the time the game comes out, but it does look interesting. And then Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, new game from Don't Nod. I've loved everything they've put out so far, so I do want to play that one as well.
Understandable. Yeah, I think Amnesia and World War I sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something with the Senses Midnight game, and it's not just the big-breasted lead character. But there's something about the fact that it's actual like tank controls and stuff. Sounds kind of cool.
Tank controls and fixed camera angles.
Yeah, sounds nice. Refreshing.
That does not sound nice to me.
It sounds what a cool throwback.
Yeah, that's fair. As long as they have the difficulty ramped down to account for that, play style.
Right. Yeah.
So
very much so.
Well, moving on, I want to talk to Alyssa first off about the game that she's been playing, Warhammer 40K Boltgun on PC, which I know is not normally your wheelhouse of. I don't remember you talking about playing Warhammer games, but you're usually playing like visual novel stuff.
Yeah.
So this is a first-person shooter, right?
It is, yes.
Yo, it's a boomer shooter.
Yeah, it's a boomer shooter. I'm playing it on my Steam Deck, which it's not Steam Deck verified, but it plays perfectly fine on it.
Okay.
But I was interested in this game because the guy that voices the main character, Malum Kaido, had hyped it up so much, and I'm a fan of him, Rahul Kohli. And then I saw like the trailer and stuff, the gameplay. It looked interesting, and then I had the opportunity to play it.
Mm-hmm.
It is so much fun. Like, I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna play one level and sit down, and 3 levels later, I'm like, okay, my thumbs are hurting, but this is so much fun. It feels just like you're playing Doom, like an older Doom. Going around killing enemies, bloody, gory. Gameplay can be a little repetitive. You're just finding keys to access new areas and then getting through the levels. But it's just so much fun to mow down all these enemies and kill them in different ways. And then there's a dedicated button that's called the Rahul Kohli button in the
what?
The Rahul Kohli button, the voice actor. If you push Y, he just starts taunting the enemies.
Nice.
That's just the dedicated Rahul Kohli button.
That's hilarious. Now, when you say it feels like playing an old school Doom game, I remember those games not having vertical shooting. Like you couldn't point the gun up and down. Are you able to point the gun up and down in this one? You
are. They do have modern game mechanics in this.
Okay.
And another cool thing is, the game is pixelated when you start playing it, but if you do not like pixels, you can make the game look pretty close to a modern shooter. It doesn't quite get to that level, but You can get rid of the pixelation, or you can make it super duper pixelated.
It's just crazy that the default is the pixelated way, though.
Well, it's it's set halfway, so it's not super pixelated, but it gives you that retro vibe.
Yeah,
but then you can make it really retro if you want to.
I think this game looks sharp as hell. Like the art style looks super cool.
It looks good. I think it looks good on the default pixelated setting.
How difficult is it?
There are 4 different difficulty levels, and I'm playing on medium, which would be normal, I'm assuming. And it gets challenging, especially during every level has at least one purge instance where you just get swarmed by enemies, and there will be a couple of boss enemies. And you have to kill the bosses and however many enemies they throw at you during a certain... It doesn't give you a time limit, but it's a few minutes. It's really rewarding when you get through that, but you do die a lot. Or at least I do. Maybe if you're more skilled than I am, you'll do better, but...
is there any jumping, or is this just...
You can jump.
Okay.
So, yeah, you have a lot of freedom with jumping. It feels like the Doom games, but they have modernized the controls and everything, so it plays like a game from this era, but it looks older.
Well, not only can you jump, right? You can do a chainsaw lunge or something like that.
You can, and it's so much fun. You can even run through enemies, and they just splatter.
This sounds like an awesome game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are points, like, especially during the purge sections, where your screen is just covered in blood. Like, you can't even see some points.
Does it slowly, like, drip off, or what does it...
It just kind of disappears. So that kind of, that pulls you out of the immersion of being covered in blood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a treat.
That sounds awesome. I may have to check that one out, when my backlog clears.
It's a really fun game, even if you just wanted to play for, one level, which each level's about 30 minutes, I'd say. You can just play it and then go and do something else, or you can sit down and play several levels like I usually tend to do.
And it's only $20.
Yeah, and it seems like it's going to be a lengthy game. I'm only about halfway through it. But, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It does get repetitive, but it's a fun time. So I think a lot of people would actually really dig it.
That sounds really cool. Again,
I think the only thing holding me back from playing it right away is Warhammer 40K. I don't really care about that license at all.
You don't have to know anything about Warhammer.
Yeah.
Luckily, which they do have cutscenes that tell you the basic story, but I mean, there's not much of a story to this game. It's literally you're just going around killing people. That's the gist. The story's just a sideline kind of thing, so you do not have to have any kind of Warhammer knowledge.
It's a freaking Warhammer game every other week.
Does seem like that.
It really does. All right, that is, again, Warhammer 40K, 40,000, 40K.
Just 40K, right?
Yeah. Boltgun. And Alyssa's playing that one on PC on her Steam Deck. Sounds pretty cool.
And, well, Alyssa's keeping us a business, right? By knocking out these new games left and right. But
yeah, I know. I'm just here. We were playing Zelda.
Right. Is it ghostpia?
I guess.
Right? Switch? Okay. My brain wants to say Ghostopia. But there's no O there.
Yeah. There is no voice acting in this game, so I don't actually know how you pronounce the title.
All right, we'll go with Ghostpia. This is on Switch. I got to be honest, the trailers don't really show you what the game's about.
And that's for a good reason, and I cannot talk about the story too much because you need to go in as blind as possible to the story.
Okay.
The graphics do look like a mixture between like a illustrated children's book and a graphic novel. And there are some moments where it feels like a super cheery slice of life visual novel. And then things take a dark turn. The dark turns will happen when you're least expecting them. And you learn the main character is not as good of a person as she appears to be.
Okay, I like that.
She seems to be, when you start up, she seems like a normal girl. This is not a spoiler. It's in the first, line of the game when you play. She is a ghost that lives in a town of ghosts. So this town has 1,024 ghosts in it. Everyone's a ghost. And she has amnesia. Common trope in a lot of visual novels. But because she has amnesia, that's when you start to learn more about how she's a terrible person in some regards. there's a lot of shocking moments in this.
Okay, like trigger warning worthy stuff, or
the game actually does warn you about there being some triggering aspects in this. Yeah.
All right.
But also, I do find it's a little funny. The game will start up and it says, "This game contains static and glitches in the graphics. Don't worry, your device is fine." You can turn those off in the menu if you don't want to see it. They're not intrusive or anything, but I just thought it was funny that the game is like, your device is fine.
I don't think I've ever seen that in a game before.
I haven't either. I thought that was cool that they put
Do
that
not
in
attempt to change the settings on your television screen. Those old PSAs on TV.
Oh, yeah, it reminds me when Arkham Asylum froze during the dream sequence.
Oh, yeah. I thought something bad was going on.
Yeah.
Same with, what was that old GameCube one that did that?
Silicon Knight, or Silicon Knight's Eternal Darkness.
Yeah,
Eternal Darkness. Yeah.
Requiem, yeah.
I literally did not finish that game because I thought my save file was corrupted. That's why I stopped playing it.
Did it as well.
It's nuts.
Dude, it was, Eternal. Oh, someone should do that again with a horror game. That's such a good idea.
I know. And it's been long enough that it would be still a fresh idea. Like,
right. Well, you can imagine the TikToks already doing the marketing for you.
Yeah.
Of people freaking out. Be like, look, it's erased my save. And then it actually works.
So good.
Oh, well, yeah, but back to Ghostpia. Mm-hmm. So it's a visual novel style game?
It is, yeah. You don't control anything. You can fast forward or rewind, but I mean, I don't really see a point to that, besides if you miss something. You don't make any choices. You're just watching this play out.
That's
not even a game then?
Technically not, no.
Well, you gotta click the button to make the text go, right?
The developers call it an interactive piece of cinema.
Huh.
That's unusual.
That is unusual. At least usually there's like dialogue choices or something.
Yeah, there's nothing of that sort in this game. So if you don't want to just read your game, you're not gonna like this. But if you want to go into an experience that's definitely gonna mess with your mind a bit, and it is disturbing, I do have to give that out, but it's really unique and I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm fairly close to the end. It contains 5 chapters, and each chapter is about an hour long.
Okay.
But I'm really digging it. Yeah, the story's got its claws in me, so.
Very cool. Again, that is Ghostpia. You're playing that on Switch.
I am.
And it sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like a perfect game for you.
It is.
You'll love those kinds of games. So I got a couple other reviews to share with you guys real quick. Chris Owen stopped by to review a game for us, as did Sean Coates, and I'm going to play this for you right now. Well, I'm here with Mr. Chris Owens. How's it going, Chris?
I am well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's been a minute since you've been on here, man. I'm excited to have you back on.
I've had a new lease on life, and that's as serious as I can get, as goofy as I am, but it feels great to be back.
Fantastic. Also joining us, Mr. Sean the Sheep, also known as Sean Coates. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm Not doing bad. All right. You missed the opportunity, man. You missed the opportunity. Yes, Sean's going to be talking about a video game about sheep. But before we get that, I want to talk about the game that Chris has been playing. It's called Bat Boy, which is not a baseball game. It comes from the developer Sanzai Games, and the publisher is X Plus Company. Got the code from Keymailer. Chris, I actually saw this trailer, and you were the first person I sent the trailer to and said, dude, you got to review this game. You are a massive Mega Man fan. This looks, I think the way you described it to me when we were texting was Mega Man cross DuckTales cross Shovel Knight or something like that. It looks like a ton of fun. Tell me about Bat Boy.
A sprinkle of Super Mario Brothers 3, too. If anybody plays it, they'll see what I mean.
Okay.
And every soundbite you could ever imagine from anything highlighting the 8-bit era in its golden years is part of this. So it's nice to have a little sprinkle of those sound bites and things. And you'll know it when you play it. It's hard to describe. But when you hear it, you kind of think back to the previous genre and kind of see where those lie. So it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting experience to really get that retro kickback if anybody's looking for it.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, because the trailer sold me enough, but if they're doing like the retro sound bites in it too, I got to play this game. So how does the game play?
Well, it plays with, you're literally Bat Boy. It's not the scary vampire little boy looking thing if you try to Google it, it'll be the first thing that hits, and that's scary enough as it is, but it's literally a baseball playing boy with a motley crew of people that are expertise in football, hockey, basketball, soccer, any of the major sports you can think of, who are abducted by Lord Vicious to play in a demonic sports competition. And lo and behold, Lord Vicious, instantaneously upon meeting you, abducts all your friends, and you have to go rescue and each of those friends and snap them out of it. So that's what the game lies, and that's where the Mega Man element comes into it, because once you rescue those friends, they teach you their special talent in their sport of expertise.
Gotcha. So can you take these sports in any order you want, Mega Man style, or is the game linear in its level design?
It's linear in a Super Mario Brothers 3 type level design. That's where that comes in. When you look at the map, you instantaneously, anybody that's played it, and I hope you haven't been living under a rock and played that game, but you look at the map and you can do it. It's in a semi-sequential order, so certain powers that you acquire are not required to progress forward, but definitely makes life easier if you could pull them off.
Sure. Okay. So 2D side scroller, like like Mega Man or Mario or DuckTales, whatever, but I mean, you've got a bat that you swing. Is that a correct assumption?
And a very versatile bat. You can take a swing just like choke up style, swing your hips and go melee with it, or you can toss it for a Mega Buster type action when it hovers through the air and sits there for a while, and you can deal out multiple hits on strong enemies, or you can take out a chain of enemies with it. But that's not the only weapon you have, obviously. You have endurance points. Your stamina points also allow you to take on the special challenges. Those and your health points you're able to build up as you go along with hidden items, and you're going to want those, because one of the great sound bites I heard was from Ninja Gaiden. One of the jump points and kill points for Ninja Gaiden. It also has the difficulty of Ninja Gaiden, and it ramps up as you go along in bosses and level design. Yeah,
you were telling me that it gets really tough. I think, were you comparing it to Cuphead, or what game were you comparing it to that was difficult? I can't remember.
Definitely not Cuphead on that front, but like I said, Ninja Gaiden on that front, the original Mega Man, the very first one that was so difficult, because these enemies can swarm. Any of the enemies that cannot be interacted with or killed can come at you at a very high level, especially on the later levels, as you would expect from classic 8-bit gameplay. So this definitely takes a bit into that too. So that can get frustrating if you're not used to that type of platforming and that type of difficulty level where there is no choice to take it on easy. That can turn you off when you get later in the game, but if you get acclimated enough and see the patterns, you'll be able to move forward.
All right. And you're playing this on PC, correct?
I am.
And I'm trying to remember if it's available on other platforms or not. Do you remember?
It's on it'd be available on Nintendo Switch as well.
Okay. Right. It looks like Xbox and PlayStation as well. So I just had to double check on that. And that brings me to, well, before I got a question about PC, because I know you don't normally play PC games, but are you recommending this game, or is this the difficulty going to scare people off, or how fun is it?
If you're into it to have fun, yes and no, because early on you'll be able to learn the mechanics and move forward, but you may hit a brick wall of difficulty. Mm-hmm. Also, some of the gameplay can be a little confusing. Like some of the environmentals, like there's the usual environmentals that you see in 8-bit games: a fire level, an ice level, a spooky level. Those types of general genres that you see in each in the worlds. But the hockey guy's in the ice world. That makes sense. But then you have the football guy in the fire world. You have I think it was tennis in a ghost world. It was some of the matchups were weird. So it was kind of if you can kind of look past that, because I overthink anything that I'm playing or looking at, as you well know. But if you can just kind of turn your brain off on those aesthetics, the gameplay is good enough to keep you engaged.
Very cool, man. That is Bat Boy. I am looking forward to checking it out, because I get to check it out because you were playing it on my Steam Deck, which this was your first time getting your hands on a Steam Deck to actually play it. And I'm curious your thoughts, because, again, you're not a big PC gamer guy, but does this seem like something that might get you into PC gaming a little bit? How does the thing feel in your hands? You got the big paws, right?
Right there. Nobody can see him, but you can see him right there. Yeah. It's like a Switch on steroids, and the layout's almost identical, which is nice to get used to if you're used to playing the Switch.
Yeah.
So navigating, what I had to kind of play with it to navigate it, to hook it to my network and check libraries for other games and things like that. So to be able to get around and learn about that is good. And like I said, if you had a Switch, it's pretty much a tutorial for a deck like this. So it's definitely something that would keep my interest in future PC gaming.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks so much for checking that out, man. Let's move on to Sean. You've been playing Home Sheep Home Farmageddon Party Edition.
Yes.
Which I put this one in our Discord thread for our reviewers, and I was shocked that anybody was like, yeah, I'll play that. I'll check that out, because I looked at just a game called Home Sheep Home. I was like, okay. But I got two questions first off before I ask you about the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, this is an older game, if I'm not mistaken, or this is a franchise that you're familiar with, correct?
Yeah, it's an older game that came out on the Switch and other platforms a couple of years ago, but it's based on the Shaun the Sheep. Are either of you guys familiar with Aardman Studios? Like Walt?
I'm not. That's the developer
Negative.
of this game, though. Yeah.
They're actually the studio that does claymation. They do Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, okay.
And Shaun the Sheep is a spin-off character from Wallace and Gromit.
That makes sense.
Okay.
When I saw the trailer, that animation makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and so he got his own TV series. It's cute as hell. If you guys ever get around to watching it, I think you're all on Netflix. Everything's claymation because that's
not anymore.
Yeah, they're the ones that they're the only people that are still doing it old school. Bless their hearts.
Yeah, right.
So that's what caught my attention was, I'm a big fan of Aardman Studios, the guys that do Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run and all that. And the game itself is not usually my cup of tea, because there's a single player and a 2-player mode which are completely different from each other. The single player is a kind of a puzzle adventure where you just got to take Sean and 2 other sheep who are you got a little infant sheep named Timmy. He's actually really cute. He's a sheep, sucking on a pacifier. And then you got who's named Shirley, who's like the big mother of the flock, and they each have different abilities. Shirley, because she's large, can move objects. Timmy is small; he can go through little tunnels and little pathways. And then Sean is the all-around jumper, kind of like Mario.
So it sounds like
Mario
2
Vikings or Mario 2. I think each character has different abilities that come in handy.
Okay.
And you got to work with each other in single player mode. You got to work with each other or take advantage of their abilities to get through the obstacles. And these little puzzles are like, they average 30 seconds in length.
Oh,
so
wow,
there's bunch of these levels. I mean, I'm barely halfway through it just because it's like, I've gone through like 45 30-second obstacle courses basically.
Something like WarioWare the puzzle game.
Kind of, yeah. And the I haven't played the 2-player mode yet, but I think I'm going to tonight when my girlfriend gets home. We're going to try it together.
Nice.
It's basically Mario Party.
Oh,
in a nutshell.
I'm listening.
There's different, just like the single player mode. There's just little mini games that you can play either cooperatively, excuse me, or competitively.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I can tell from the videos I've seen, because I haven't really played that mode yet.
Gotcha. Well, we'll hear more about that in your video, in your written review,
sure.
Rather. But I'm surprised Kevin wasn't all over this. He loves to try these party games, Kung Fu Kickball, and all these, and they're all like he played one recently that was like Rubber Chickens. That was a party game. So I don't know what this animal based the party game phenomenon that's going on in the industry, but these are a lot of fun to play with people, so I'm looking forward to hearing about that. So
yeah, so the gameplay itself wasn't the draw for me; it was the IP.
Okay, and does it do it justice?
Yeah, it's just like the show. It's cute, and I really dig the kind of the hand drawn style this game's going for. It's not going for any sort of claymation look. So I appreciate the artwork.
Very cool. That sounds good. You got a couple other games you've been checking out too, right?
I do, yeah, really quick, just a couple to talk about. One called Squad 51 versus the Flying Saucers.
This looks fun. It's a vertical shmup.
It's a
horizontal
shmup, and I like to call it. It's a combination of R-Type with Orson Welles' War of the Worlds radio broadcast.
That sounds outstanding.
It has a 30s and 40s B movie diesel punk advent, kind of sci-fi, really cheapo looking. All the crafts purposely look cheap, like the saucers are literally dangling on wires.
Oh, that's amazing!
And they put that in a video game form.
Now, did they do the voice like they had in those old those campy Yeah, TV shows or whatever.
It's coming from outer space. Yeah, it has all that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the picture like kind of scrolls across like danger or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. That's just what I'm picturing.
And and the graphics look really cool. I don't know how they do it, but it almost looks like you're controlling a real plane in a real environment.
Oh, wow.
I think it must be kind of the same digital scanning effect they did with like Mortal Kombat back in the day. Take an actual actor and scan it in the computer. But it looks really good, and the backgrounds look realistic as well. And it has a grainy film filter too to give it that mid-century authenticity. And not to mention, those little cigarette burn holes you see in the corner of a frame.
Yeah, I've seen Fight Club.
Yeah, they use those cigarette burns as not only as an aesthetic, but as an indicator to tell you where on the screen the enemies are going to come from.
Oh, that's really clever.
It's a really clever mechanic without just being like, here, they're coming from here. It blends in with the aesthetic. I really appreciate things like that.
Now, one of the things in the shmup that always makes it a lot of fun is the crazy weaponry. What are the weapons like?
Mostly machine guns, and you'll as you progress, you'll unlock more points to unlock bombs, or you can what's the secondary weapon? Oh yeah, a reverse flamethrower to get enemies that are behind you.
Nice,
but you have to. They're only you can use them once in a while. You got to wait for a charge up, and the charge up can be very slow at first, but then you get upgrades to make the cooldown go faster.
Very cool. All right, that is Squad 51 versus the Flying Saucers. What are you playing it on, by the way?
I'm playing it on Switch. Oh, and also I should mention the cutscenes are live action. They actually got actual actors to do it live action, and the studio is Portuguese, so the original dub is in Portuguese of all things, but there is an English dub.
Very cool. All right, I may have to check that one out. Is it on other platforms, or is this exclusive?
I think for now it just kind of shadow dropped on Switch, because when I know you had a thing for it in the writer's room, and it was just like the Steam only key, and I don't do PC, so I had to wait for hopefully a console launch, and then it just kind of shadow dropped on Switch. And I just got it myself.
Gotcha. Very cool. What's the other game we've been checking out?
Formula Retro Racing World Tour.
You and your racing games, man.
Yeah, I know.
Where are you playing this one?
This one is on Xbox.
All right.
And it's basically virtual racing. Remember virtual racing from the mid-90s from Sega?
I do. I remember it in the arcades more than console, but
yeah, there's something about that. I just find something charming about that low poly, no texture aesthetic of the mid-90s, where everything is a solid color and very, very blocky and polygonal looking. I just find that kind of charming, and a throwback to, if y'all know me, my love for mid-90s racer arcades.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about it. How's it control?
Control's great. And there's a championship mode, and then of course there's time attack, all the stuff you expect from racing games. And you have to you have to make like first, second, or third place, and you get points, and then if you redeem enough points, you can move on to unlock all the other levels. And you can do multiple tracks multiple times to build up the points. And this just all the tracks are just all over the world. It's really interesting to see a translation of Las Vegas in a low poly environment.
Yeah, I hear you. That sounds fun. I haven't played a racing game in a while either. I kind of wish we had a new Burnout, but this sounds kind of interesting too, especially with the 90s aesthetic. There's something about the simplicity of those, like even like an Outrun or something like that. I would just love to kind of go back and do that. Actually, Formula.
And this actually isn't the first review of a game I've reviewed from this developer, Repixelate. I don't know if you recall, I did a F-Zero type hovercraft game a while back. Yeah. Same developer. It's like a micro studio, like one or two guys.
Very cool. Again, Formula Retro Racing World Tour. You're playing that on Xbox, but looks like it's in other places as well.
Yes, it is.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by to talk about your two games. I appreciate you taking the time. Chris, it's been too long, man. I have a feeling we're going to hear from you again next week because you're reviewing another game for us on the Steam Deck.
The distance of activity lack of activity will certainly shorten. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, dude. And the game, I can't tell everybody what it is you're playing, but I really want to play it. It looks like a lot of fun. So stay tuned next week because he's got another game that's going to be fun to talk about. So I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for stopping by.
You got it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it as always. A couple other quick housekeeping mentions. Want to remind everybody about our social media outlets where you can join the community. First off, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We got a new member by the name of Charlie McMullen. Welcome to the community over there. Also, over on Discord, which is live and thriving, we do have a link for that in the show notes if you'd like to join the community over there. We got a new member by the name of Machine261, and I want to say I read this one already. Did I read this iTunes review already last week?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So I forgot to erase that, so I'm going to skip over that one.
Basically, the review said 5 stars, Zelda sucks.
Yeah,
And
pretty
your name
much.
was misspelled, Zack.
Well,
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Also, all of our episodes as well as written content can be found on our website, thegamingoutsider.com. We would hope that you would check that out. Zach's review of Jedi Survivor should be up by the time you hear this episode, so be sure to check that out. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. This week was the Sony Showcase, and we decided to take a closer look at what was announced, share our thoughts, and see what the listeners thought of the presentation. So we're going to kick things off. We're going to do it a little bit different than we normally do. We're going to start with the community's reaction, see what they thought about it, and then we'll kind of pick up the pieces with our thoughts about everything else that was listed. So starting over on Facebook, Kyle Boggs says, Project Q was what got me most. I've been wanting a Sony handheld for a long time. I thought that this announcement at the Sony Showcase was an interesting one, but I still feel like we don't know a whole lot about what this is. If you did not watch it, everybody, it looks like a PS5 DualSense controller with is it an 8-inch or a 9-inch
8-inch
monitor right in the middle of it. Sony claims that it's going to have everything that a DualSense controller has. It's just going to have this tablet so that you can play off of your PS5 onto this device. But there's no word if you're able to do that over any Wi-Fi connection or if it has to just be your Wi-Fi connection in your own home. Regardless, I still don't feel like who's this for? Because
I was gonna say, Kyle, it's not a handheld. It's just a streaming device. You know?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I hope you don't have the wrong impression. Like it is what you can already do on your phone with PlayStation anyway.
Right. It's just an all-in-one device that just
right. And I'm not actually strictly opposed to it. I actually think it sounds kind of nice. I liked using remote play on my Vita. I think remote play on the phones is just not as nice. But the problem is that we're dealing with the modern Sony, so it's going to be $300.
Yeah.
You know, for a stream box or more, because if this was like $100, it'd be a no-brainer, right? Or maybe even $150. But this is modern PlayStation. It's going to be $250, $300, no doubt, and that's insane for a streaming box that you can only use it for the PlayStation that you already own. It's not even like you're just streaming from the store or something, you know?
Right, and you can't like purchase anything off of it. You can't,
it's not like a Switch or anything.
Yeah, you can't store any games.
It's not even like a
on
Steam Deck.
No.
Right.
Yeah. So I to your point, Scott, I don't know who this is for.
I mean, there are people like me that, would like to spend time with their significant other while they're watching a show that they're not interested in watching, and I can sit there and play that. But I feel like most people, like if they want to play, they're just going to go to their TV and play it. But again, we don't know if this is tied to being at home or not. If it is, then what? Then really, what's the point?
That would be completely useless. I don't think that's the case because it wouldn't make any sense if you can already stream your PlayStation to your phone off of any Wi-Fi. It wouldn't make any sense to put out a device that was on the same Wi-Fi like the Wii U was or whatever.
Right.
So I assume,
Don't even like current smart TVs have like those apps in there now? Like I know Xbox has one where like you don't even have to have an Xbox anymore. You can just have the app on your smart TV and play your Xbox.
I think on Samsung TVs they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I don't.
The Game Pass app right off of an app on your thing. You don't even have to have the hardware anymore. Which,
right.
That's crazy. But anyway, yeah, I Kyle, not knocking you for being excited. I was pretty excited when I first saw it. When I started reading more about it, I was like, that's not what I thought it was when they first showed it in the presentation.
I just, I don't want to. I'm not trying to. This isn't an insult to your intelligence or anything, Kyle. I don't think you understood what it was because you use the word handheld. It's not a handheld,
right? It's not like another Vita,
or a Switch or a Steam Deck or anything like that,
right?
It's just a really expensive alternative to remote play.
Yeah. Zack?
But Darren Allen writes in, Helldiver looks interesting. Now, did either of you play the first Helldiver?
Isn't that the one that we were gonna all play together? Wasn't Helldivers? So. Isn't that the space shooter one I was talking about? It was a multiplayer one that we were gonna all play. I felt like it was a Gears game. Am I thinking of the wrong game?
You're thinking of Outriders.
Outriders. Okay, then I don't remember what Helldiver was.
Helldivers was a PS3 game, which is why I know we weren't playing it together.
Oh, okay.
But it was an isometric shooter. But it was quite famous for being incredibly difficult because friendly fire was always active. And there were a lot of swarm type enemies, so it was very easy to shoot each other. And if you set up a turret, it required communication because you're like, I'm going to put a turret down, make sure you're behind it because it's going to just unload on everybody.
Right.
Or else you're going to kill your teammate. But it was super cool, super difficult like that. I actually loved Helldivers quite a bit. Me and my buddy Savi used to play it back in the day. But the sequel here is third person over the shoulder. So totally different perspective.
Is that friendly fire still going to be a thing, or is this just a game based on the universe, you think?
I would say Helldivers is I would say the friendly fire is the defining characteristic of Helldivers 1.
Okay.
So
it would have to be there.
Yeah. And there was no way to turn it off because it was just not the game feel they were going for.
Makes sense.
I don't know. I'm a little torn. I kind of wish that we got a Helldivers 2 that was still the isometric one, but I get it. You got to do the modern thing, especially if this is going to be one of your 10 live service games.
Yeah, right.
Sean Coates writes, I haven't even watched the showcase yet at the time I'm typing this response, but I can easily say it's the Metal Gear Solid 3, Delta remake. I know it's blasphemous to declare any MGS game, Metal Gear Solid game, that isn't the first one as the best, but yeah, Snake Eater is the best installment, and I will happily die on that hill. Glad to see it's also coming to Xbox Series XS as well. Also, Assassin's Creed Mirage, I look forward to jumping back into a pile of hay.
Yeah.
I got a lot
Zack, you agree with him, don't you?
Yeah.
What? That it's blasphemous or what?
No, that 3 is the best of the series.
Yeah, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best one. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
He's talking about how the first one. I feel like the second game is now the popular one on the internet.
Is it really?
I mean, at least in like games critics circles.
It was hated when it first released.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
When everybody found out you weren't playing as Snake, they were like really upset.
I know. I remember. I read Jeff Keighley very disappointed. He's like, "Why wouldn't you start with 2? That's obviously the best one." Yeah. So I think time has been kind to MGS2. However, 3 is the best. I'm not really excited for this remake yet. There was nothing there. They may as well just put a logo on the screen. This is a non-announcement.
How long did it take for you to realize it was Metal Gear Solid 3?
All the way until you saw Snake.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew it instantly because I heard that the song.
Well, they didn't play the song until he was in the shadow, right?
I thought I was playing the whole time through. Maybe
I'm mistaken.
I might be mistaken. Maybe I didn't know until I heard it playing at that instant.
But once they heard the "What a Thrill," that was pretty exciting.
I'm like, Metal Gear Solid 3?
Metal Gear.
But now it's Delta.
Gear? Yeah, but I don't know what it looks like. We don't know who the developer is. We don't know anything about this. This is a useless announcement.
We do know that David Hayter will be voicing Snake, though.
Right. We don't know if it's new dialogue or reused.
That's true.
Or you're using it, yeah. And the Delta, working in a corporation like I do, Delta is a symbol for change for good as well. So I think that was kind of a clever thing that they did to call it Snake 8 Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta.
You'll notice
Metal Gear Solid Delta.
You'll notice it does not say Hideo Kojima game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sucks.
That does suck.
That's kind of like, I'm thinking about like if they remade the first Nier, but Yoko Taro wasn't involved, would I be excited for it? And I don't think I would be that excited. Or if we're going to remake BioShock from the ground up, but we're not going to talk to Ken Levine about it.
Yeah, that would be odd.
Yeah, it would just, for a game where the director is so intrinsically tied to the text, it's just, I don't know. It feels a little scummy. But
I'm with you. And Twitter wasn't happy about it either. They're like, there's no way you're not going to credit the guy that made this game.
Right. Well, he's got to be in the credits. Yeah. You don't have to call it a Hideo Kojima game. That doesn't break my heart. But if they reuse the old dialogue, then it should be close enough where it shouldn't matter. But we'll see.
I thought it was interesting that they are bringing back the original 3 PlayStation games.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess the second one and third one were a PS2, weren't they?
Right. Yeah, I didn't know you want to talk about that now. Yeah, it's Archives Volume 1, right? So there's going to be more.
Right. So what does that mean? The VR ones, or what were those? Weren't there like VR Spec Ops missions or something?
Those are included with the Metal Gear Solid 1 in this first collection.
Oh, are they? Okay. So what then? 4 and 5?
Well, if they get 4, that'd be huge news because it's never been ported off of PS3 because apparently it is a nightmare of code.
Mm-hmm.
Hideo Kojima said it was just built so much with the PS3 in mind that it would be borderline impossible to port it. So I hope they do the hard work because I think without 4, you don't really have that's the ending of the saga. That's where the story concludes. But yeah, I would think you get 4, 5, maybe Portable Ops, or Peace Walker probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you would need Peace Walker. That's part of the actual canon, and but Portable Ops would be fun to have. But it'd be great to get the Acid games in there too. Just do them all. Do like a third collection where it's just like Metal Gear Rising and Ghost Babel and stuff like that. But it is worth noting.
Weird franchise.
It is worth noting this first collection actually has Metal Gear 1 and 2 as well.
Oh, Metal Gear, like the NES games?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But this is and those are going to be on Xbox as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They were in the old HD collection, or it's part of the Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're just using those versions as well.
I've been pronouncing that word wrong all these years.
Subsistence?
I was pronouncing it subsistence.
Oh.
Subsistence? I don't know. Anyway.
It doesn't matter. Either way, yeah. It's weird they didn't announce it, but it's in all the store descriptions that it comes with Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Yeah. He also mentioned in here Assassin's Creed Mirage, which should get me super amped up because they're going back to the roots. I feel like I've started to hit fatigue with that series a little bit.
With it.
I mean, and that's coming from a guy that did not play through Valhalla because it was so massive. So if they do a Assassin's Creed game that is, I don't know, maybe 20 hours, I'd be a lot happier.
That's what this is supposed to be, 12, 15 hours.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Then I'm definitely more interested because I just
and it's $50 instead of $70.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, okay. So this is gonna be like a Black Flag style game.
I want to say like Assassin's Creed Rogue.
I'm sorry, not Rogue is what I meant to say. Yeah,
like a little spin-off kind of thing, cheaper. Yeah, that's what it's been described as. I think I'm intrigued because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the setting. It's more like the Assassin's Creed 1 setting, which is super cool.
Next up is Bill Gardner. He says Spider-Man 2, Metal Gear Solid, Helldivers 2, and the resurrection of Cade 6. Other than that, it was pretty underwhelming. They said Showcase, which set expectations really high. This is more like a pretty good state of play, in my opinion. Do you guys agree with that statement?
Yes.
I think, do as well, yeah.
That's why I think it had this air of disappointment around it online, is because they called it a showcase. And that does set expectations pretty high.
Yeah.
So, especially like we're 3 years into the life cycle like this. We were 3 years into the life cycle at a showcase before. It was like, here's God of War and Spider-Man. Brand new games that first party's up to. Isn't that exciting?
Mm-hmm.
And here it's just kind of like, well, here's stuff you already knew about and a bunch of CG trailers.
Yeah, there wasn't any really too many like mic drop moments of like
there wasn't a single one, I thought, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, we all knew Spider-Man 2 was coming. That was kind of the showstopper there a bit. But I have thoughts about that too. Spider-Man 2 looks awesome, but is it because like I'm just spoiled by already having played the original Spider-Man that this one just doesn't look like? I was so blown away the first time I saw that Spider-Man trailer at E3, the year that they revealed it. And I was like, how in the world are you going to play this game? There's just so much going on. How are you doing this? And then you put your hands in the controller and it just works and it clicks. So I feel like I'm already over that mental hurdle with this one. I don't know. I wasn't super blown away. I was kind of intrigued by the, having Peter and Miles together.
Right.
I don't
Spider-Man.
know. Right. I know nothing about Kraven the Hunter. Are we going to the jungle? Is this not going to be in New York? Like there's a lot of questions.
Oh yeah, I mean there might be like a linear segment in the jungle or something, but I would be surprised if we spent a great deal of time there.
Mm-hmm.
That would be as well.
Yeah, for me as a Spider-Man fan, somebody who loved that first game.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just kind of like it looks like Spider-Man. You know, which I don't want to feel crappy about. It's just like not only that, but it's a chase segment over the water, which like they showed that. That's like how they showed the first Spider-Man with that chase of Electro when he chased him up to the Sinister Six. So it was like, this is kind of weird that you did like the same thing. You know, I need to iterate. I think the game is going to be fantastic. It's just like it's the third game now. Same city, same combat, same characters. You know, it's kind of hard to feel like jazzed about it.
Right.
When you didn't really show. I mean, you showed the symbiote suit, but we kind of knew that was coming as well. So it was, you know. It wasn't a mic drop worthy moment, I wouldn't say.
It's interesting how, because it's still Yuri doing the voice, right?
Right.
For Peter, you can tell like his voice is affected by the suit. Like he's delivering the lines
Angrier.
like a little angrier Peter, which is that's fun.
It's like the 90s cartoon. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth, shocker. My Spider-Man fans will get that. I think the wingsuit looks dumb, super dumb, and I hate that it's there. I'll just never use it though.
Like that's the new thing that they showed in this trailer is the wingsuit.
Yeah, and I get it, they're showing off like the SSD right loading or whatever, but it just looks so freaking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing Spider-Man to be Superman and fly around. I'm playing Spider-Man to web swing.
Right.
It's just I don't know why that would be exciting.
The internet's going to be the internet, but like after this posted, it's been like 2 or 3 days. People are complaining about how bad it looks, like how terrible the graphics look. I'm like, well, we're just spoiled, man. Like,
yeah,
there's literally a video or a GIF of like Peter or Miles, I can't remember which one, in water, and they're like, he doesn't even look wet when he gets out. Like, who cares? Like, just like, and the weird thing is watching the video, he did look wet. Like, I don't get it.
It's also, you don't know the material. Maybe it's just rubbing right off.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's just, yeah. But that's exactly, the Spider-Man franchise has been unfairly treated by the internet the entire time, and then sells 20 million copies anyway. Remember, like Puddlegate? You know? Yeah, we took out all the puddles in Spider-Man. Like, who cares? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's just, but you're right, it's people being spoiled, and also doesn't make any sense with the reality. These people are an annoying vocal minority. The best-selling game of all time is a bunch of blocks. Like, graphics aren't as important as you think they are.
As long as the game's fun, man. Everyone's just rallying around how awful Tears of the Kingdom looks, and I am having the best time playing that game.
See, well, it's interesting because what I'm seeing is a lot of people defending who cares how it looks, which has been great to hear. Although it's the same people who complain about how games will run at 60 FPS and then seem to not care when it's Nintendo, but that's a whole other topic.
It's interesting. Anyway,
but we got Jesper Hasselholm here.
Mm-hmm.
Most exciting for Assassin's Creed Mirage. Looks like it's back to the roots. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Alyssa?
Timothy Miller says, Dragon's Dogma 2 is what got myself hyped. I've been wanting another one for a long time. There were a lot of good games that were shown. Showed the Spider-Man 2 preview to my wife, and she said, is that a game? It looks like a movie.
Well, hey, that's high praise.
Yeah, should probably get her eyes checked, though. I'm kidding. Most modern movies are pretty much animated anyway.
Especially the action sequences.
Yeah.
I had never played Dragon's Dogma. When I was watching this, I was assuming I was starting to type the notes on my dock or whatever, and I started typing Dragon's Dogma reboot because I just assumed it was a reboot, not a sequel. But
a sequel 10 years later.
Yeah.
I only played a few hours of Dragon's Dogma because I was going to do a side quest, but then you progress the story and it cut off all the side quests at a certain point.
Oh,
and that annoyed me so much that I stopped playing.
Wow, you showed them.
That's right. I showed them. They're making a sequel. They'll never get me. Anyway, what I played of it, I thought was great though. Super cool. I like this sense of style that the setting has. I should go back and play it.
You won't.
No, I won't. Nope. I know in Japan they had some Berserk DLC though, so maybe that would have got me.
Oh, that's cool.
Came over.
Over on Discord, Jackie-san says, I thought it was well made. Not too much fluff, not lots of developers introducing themselves and telling us their feelings on the game. Just game trailers, some CG, some gameplay, good mix. Apparently, though, the games I want most are also going to Xbox, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Marathon, and Metal Gear Solid games. I think he makes a good point about that they're giving us in these showcases or state of plays or, whatever, they're just giving us trailers. They're, part of me kind of misses the on-stage stuff where you get to talk and see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but I think we're kind of beyond that. It's hard to go back now.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought Xbox did it perfectly when was it last year where they had that little showcase where they had, it was just like 4 games, right? Mm-hmm. But you got to meet the developers and then they introduced their game. I think that I prefer that format personally, but I also care about people behind the scenes. So,
yeah,
I understand the appeal of it just being nothing but bang out trailers left and right.
Right. But yeah, he also makes a good point about a lot of these games coming to Xbox. There was no indication. They didn't say exclusive to PlayStation or whatever on the bottom of the screen when the trailer's date was revealed and everything, but they did say coming to PS5 or coming to PS4 on this date.
And then right after the show, Microsoft tweets that out.
Right. Yeah.
Thank God for this Activision merger, huh? Not want to draw any attention to themselves because before that merger was starting, or if this had already been struck, Metal Gear Solid would not be going to Xbox. They'd be paying whatever it took to make it exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sony's MO, but I think the only reason it's not happening is because they don't want to look like hypocrites to legal authorities right now.
Exactly. And like him, the ones that I'm mostly interested in are on there as well too. So one in particular, but we'll get there. Who's up? Zack?
Sure. I don't know. Fierce writes in Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh, my OMG. Don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait to get another small snippet of that in 2027 and then finally get to play it when it drops to 2033. Woohoo. Sorry, not sorry. I miss the old days. I want to get hyped. I really do, but I see the same old play. Let's recap for just a moment. Sony's handheld history, PSP, no right analog stick or triggers. PS Vita, no triggers or L3 or R3. PSQ, can't leave the house in 2023. I forget sometimes. Hey, man. He's spitting facts.
Yeah. Weird. Can't you, leave the house, even like you said, with your phone? You could do that on your phone, but I can't do this.
I have to imagine the PSQ is going to let you play outside your house. I don't know why people are. I think, is it just because everyone keeps making fun of how it's just they invented the Wii U, so they just assume you have to be in your same Wi-Fi?
Maybe.
Because they haven't said anything that gives that indication, but it feels like that's what everyone assumes.
Yeah, well, yeah. I have feelings, but I'm trying to not sound hateful. So
you're saying PlayStation can't do anything but shoot themselves in the foot right now?
I'm not saying that.
Yeah. I just can't wait for it to be $300, man. They're going to do it.
Well, people will pay for it. It's part of the problem.
I don't know. Hey, people did not pay for the PSVR 2.
That's true.
Although that was $550, so I guess that's a whole different. When it's more expensive than the console itself, I guess it's kind of hard to stomach.
The peripheral costs more than the console.
It's pretty bad.
That's kind of crazy. Anyway, Alyssa?
Caramel Bear writes, let's just say I haven't been this excited since E3 2013.
Wow.
Alan Wake 2, Cat Quest, Destiny, Dragon's Dogma 2, and Spider-Man 2 makes me want to officially play the first one. It was a solid presentation with no fluff and straight to the point trailers. This showcase brought back a joy in gaming that I've missed for a good while.
Dude, if this excites you and you haven't played the first one, what you waiting for?
It's a very good game.
And play the DLC, because based on the characters you see in the Kraven's screen, there's pretty important stuff gonna come from that DLC, which is insane. The main character goes bad in that DLC. It's crazy to put that in a DLC.
Interesting. I was not expecting anybody to show interest in Cat Quest. I saw that trailer and I was like, okay. But
yeah, it looked like a game designed for the internet age to me.
Oh, okay.
Like just a game people will be like, oh my God, look, cat. Can you pet the cat?
I know the first game was always recommended to me and I never played it. so I can't get any interest in this one just because I haven't played the first one.
Now's your chance.
I don't know if I like the look of it.
Well, of which one?
Cat Quest. This is the sequel that they announced during this showcase.
And isn't it like Pirates of the
Caribbean?
Yeah, that's pretty good. The Destiny thing, I don't play Destiny, but didn't they just kill Cade 6? He's back already?
Yeah, that's apparently like a big deal.
Isn't this game called Marathon?
No, I was talking about Destiny 2.
Okay. What's Marathon? Why am I thinking Marathon?
No, that's a different shooter. You're right. I'm sure we'll talk about it later. But yeah, that's kind of lame though, isn't it?
Do they just kill off a character and then bring him back?
Immediately, yeah. I mean, they do that for every franchise now, I guess.
I mean, everybody that I've heard talk that's a Destiny 2 fan is really excited about this. So.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to. I am happy for all of you. It's just nobody seems to stay dead in major franchises anymore.
No, unless it's Game of Thrones.
Right. Even then, I'm sure they'll reboot it.
They're not safe there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got a comment from Mark Szymanski, and it looks like it's our last one. He says, "What is Neva? That was odd. Plucky Squire looks whimsical and fun. Metal Gear Solid, shut up and take my money. Towers of Agzba looks like Horizon Forbidden Zelda. But I'm here for it. It looks surprisingly polished for a game that's still at least 8 months away. Final Fantasy 16 continues to intrigue me. I'm growing more fearful of the time to beat, though. Shoot, I've never played the first Alan Wake. Looks like I have 5 months to remedy that."
Love it. I don't know if you intended to do that, but it was
yes,
great.
he did.
Does Assassin's Creed Mirage play like Uncharted? I don't care. I want to try it out. However, I've never played an AC game before. Spider-Man 2 is a perfect example of why I love my PS5. I'm stoked. That preview blew me away. Overall, there was something for everybody and plenty for me. The next year is going to be great.
What did I not see in the Spider-Man demo?
I don't know. I mean, it was very action-packed, and it's like I said, if we had seen it before we saw the Spider-Man trailer, we would be just as blown away that we were then as we are now. I think. You know what I mean? But it doesn't feel like it's done enough different from the first game.
Oh, you mean like if we didn't know Venom was in it and stuff? Or Kraven?
Yeah. It's like
probably,
there wasn't any surprises except for the wingsuit, which
I thought looked dumb. I don't know about you.
I mean, it's whatever for me. Like Zelda's my baby. This is your baby, right?
Yeah.
So
like Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk about. I've got a list here of everything else that was announced. We're not going to read through the entire list, but we're going to kind of go around the table and something that stuck out to you that you wanted to mention. Zach, why don't you start?
Well, I do want to. So, Fair Games at the top. The first thing they showed. This is from Haven. This is Jade Raymond's studio. What the hell was the point of this?
It looks like a Payday.
It does.
Well, it's just swimming in Ubisoft energy. It feels like a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
All the way down to the S being a $sign feels like something Ubisoft would do. It's even the lead developer of Watch Dogs 2. Yeah, but this is a nonsense trailer. Who was this trailer? This tells me nothing about the game. I don't know anything more than if you had just put a logo on the screen. This is useless. Useless trailer, a waste of time, and a sign that PlayStation is not the company it used to be.
Especially for a trailer to kick off.
Yes, for a big like
odd choice.
Because you open and you end with mic drop moments, right? That's how video game showcases go. This was nothing. This is a fart in the wind, useless announcement. Mm-hmm. I do not understand why you bought this developer if they're just making the same shooter everybody else is making.
Mm-hmm.
Strange, annoying even. I'm furious. What a waste.
All right. Alyssa?
The Plucky Squire continues to look absolutely delightful. I love it going from being in a book to in the real world. It just it's so creative, and it just looks delightful.
Is it sad that that's the thing I'm like most excited for out of this entire deal?
It's not sad.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm not going to play Spider-Man.
Yeah. And
I already knew this existed, just like I also knew Spider-Man already existed. But this just looks to be doing something different, and I don't know. I like it. It just looks so charming.
I think for me, it's runner-up for most exciting game of the show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'm not alone then. Phantom Blade Zero looks really interesting. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it just looks pretty.
It did look very pretty.
Yeah, lots of action. PS5 later this year. Or it's actually no day given.
I guess it's a sequel to a Chinese mobile phone game.
Oh, okay.
That has like over 20 million players over there. But that game is like a 2D turn-based RPG, and this is like a real-time action game.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Super weird. But it looks super cool, yeah. I mean, it's kind of... The Souls-likes are starting to kind of blend together, but it looks pretty cool.
I thought you might be interested in that one. You know what? We forgot to answer Mark's question about this game, Neva, Neva, N-E-V-A. It's from the developers of Gris or Gris. I assume it's pronounced Gris.
Yeah, I think it's
Gris.
Yeah.
Not really sure. I didn't play
it looks
that
sad.
game. Yeah, it's just gonna make you cry.
Well, definitely me, because I cry whenever any kind of animal or anything dies in anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks beautiful though.
There's something cool about the wolf that's got like antlers on it.
Yeah, it's like a deer wolf or wolf deer.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool. But I could not tell you, Mark, how that gameplay works. It looks very narrative driven, and I don't know, the animation's kind of neat too. So,
right.
All right, Zach, you got another one you want to mention?
Yeah, I guess so. The game I'm most excited for is Alan Wake 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Over Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I mean, Spider-Man content happens about every month, it seems like. It's been 13 years since we've gotten an Alan Wake game. So yeah, I'm definitely more excited. And as I was trying to reference earlier, I like that it looks like he's been trapped there for 13 years.
Oh, yeah.
He looks haggard in the dark place. And I think that's super cool. And Control, is in the same universe. And you learn in that game, it has been many years since Alan Wake has been seen. So it really does seem like he's just been trapped in Nightmare Land for a decade, which is pretty nuts. It doesn't sound like a good time.
Do you anticipate there being more tie-ins to the Remedy universe with this one, or will it be something else that will tie things together more?
Yeah, well, I think Control will be the overall ones because they have a pretty great excuse with their little like magical item collection,
right?
In the oldest house, like Alan Wake's typewriter, for instance. So that's probably where you'll see most of the crossing over, I would think. But yeah, I'm sure that they'll start building their universe, with this more substantially. Maybe Alan Wake, when he finally is freed, he'll be taken to the oldest house for a debriefing.
This makes me want to go back and replay Control and replay Alan Wake.
I mean, I think it just sounds like easy stuff making it. And you're playing as this new character, Saga Anderson.
Yeah.
FBI agent. I like that idea, that the dichotomy of the person looking for Alan Wake and then Alan Wake trying to escape. I think that's a pretty cool dual narrative. We're on parallel paths. I think this game looks absolutely exceptional. Cannot wait for October 17th. Devastated that it's not coming out on a disc.
I know.
Makes no sense to me.
But it is going to be only $60.
Right. Their excuse is flimsy as hell. That like most games are digital, or like more and more games are digital only these days. Yeah, which AAA game is digital only?
That's a good question.
It is. I can't think of one at the moment.
Yep, that's exactly right. So that's a lie. And the idea, that's how we're keeping it at $60. I mean, I guess maybe. I don't think that's true. There are plenty of games coming out on disc at $40 or $50 brand new. The games like, you remember that Solstice game I reviewed last week or last year? That was $50 on a disc.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure. You can
I wouldn't
pull
call
it
that a AAA game, though.
You're right. But I'm just saying that if that game can manage to find, if that game can afford to get on a disc, how can Alan Wake 2 not?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Your excuse is lousy. If you just say you don't want to do it, I would respect that more.
I'm with you. I would too.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has the guts to do it.
No, even though that's the truth of it.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't want to go through the hassle. That's all you really mean. Anyway, that game looks phenomenal. Can't wait. I'm jazzed. I love everything Remedy's ever done. So
that one's going to have to be a spoiler cast on the story. That's got to be a good story to discuss spoilery, right?
Right. Well, that's what they do, man.
Yeah.
They do stories. You see Sam Lake in the game there?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. And like James McCaffrey, the voice of Max Payne, was in the trailer as well. A lot to get excited about here.
I just got a quick one I want to mention, just because I thought the joke that I think it was Jason Schreier made on Twitter about foam stars. He posted a picture of the Project Q and said, "I can't wait to play Splatoon 4 on my Sony Wii U." I thought that was actually kind of clever.
Dude, foam stars look so bad.
Yeah, I don't have any really interest in playing it, but
the vibe is weird. Like, who wants to? I can't, like, spraying things with paint sounds fun, but like just throwing bubble bath foam around, like, it is. Who the hell thinks that's cool?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's someone out there.
Yeah.
That and Teardown, which is a game that was previously only on PC. It's not coming to PS5. Rel reviewed that game for us, and it's a really interesting. I'm not gonna say, was it Blast Core? Was that the game on N64 where you had to like tear down the buildings to keep them from getting into the missile semi? You had to clear a path for it to get through a city without blowing up. This reminded me of that, except it's like a puzzle game to figure out the best ways to tear down these buildings and do as much destruction as possible. The fact that that's coming to console gets me excited because I wanted to check that one out, but that was before I had a Steam Deck. So, Alyssa, do you have another one?
Revenant Hill. I don't know what this game is about at all, but I could tell it was from the developers of Nine in the Woods just by the art style, and I love Nine in the Woods.
Oh, the musical?
No, it was an indie game. I forget what year it came out.
You're thinking of Into the Woods.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of Into the Woods.
But yeah, that delved with some more serious topics. And Revenant Hill, yeah, look, the art style draws me in. I don't know what the game's about, but I mean, more from this team. I'm going to probably check it out.
That art style reminds me of the art style from like Milky Way Prince. Is that the same developer?
I'm not sure. I've been wanting to play Milky Way Prince, but I don't know.
Well, if you'd like to play Milky Way Prince, let me know because
I'll play it.
You can get a copy?
No, we'll talk more about that later, but right. Just remind me. Yeah, but that's what it reminds me of. It looks like this is a debut game by this developer called The Glory Society, so it is not the same developer.
That's my bad. I thought it was from the same developer as Nine in the Woods because it had a very similar art style.
This is what it says on a YouTube video that I had posted when I was doing the review, so assuming this information is correct, but because somebody actually made a comment on the comments that says, "I can't be the only person who thought that this was a Night in the Woods sequel. We'll definitely be picking this up." So you're not alone.
Okay.
In thinking that.
Oh, that's my bad. Sorry, listeners. I didn't mean to be incorrect.
No worries, Zach.
No, I am also upset. If I continue to be upset about this Concord trailer, another first party, PlayStation game that was nothing. CG trailer, useless. Why are they wasting our time? You just put up a logo. We had the same effect. CG trailers are useless. For a new IP, they're meaningless. It tells you nothing.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, this sequel to this game you already are somewhat familiar with and probably have an idea of what kind of game it is and what kind of gameplay mechanics are there.
Right.
That's a little bit different. This is a new IP. Don't know anything about it. You gave us a logo. Thanks.
Right. You're wasting your money and my time by making this trailer.
Yep.
Useless. And I want to know what PlayStation First Party is up to. This is, I don't know. The biggest takeaway from this showcase overall was how often I saw the words and not actual gameplay.
Yeah. Alyssa?
I thought Tower of Fantasy looked interesting. I'm always a sucker for an anime visual style, though. Again, don't know much about what this game's going to be like. I saw some mechs going around. Anime art style. It could be a interesting game. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high or too low, but piqued my interest just watching the trailer.
All right. This trailer for, I don't know if it's pronounced Ultros or Ultros, coming in 2024. It looks like a gear-gated game, 2D gear-gated game that just with a color palette that you don't normally see in those style of games. I feel like most of the time they're very dark. That one just looks very bright and colorful. So
Yeah, I feel like that one made me think of you when I saw it.
Not surprised.
Yeah,
Zack?
I think that about does it for stuff I'm excited about.
I think it's funny that they did a trailer for Resident Evil 4 being in VR, and I was like, in my mind, I watched that. I was like, I thought that was already a thing. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm probably dumb for thinking that, but that's where my mind went. Was like, I thought this was already out. Like, why is this?
I think they announced it for sure.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, that it was coming. I don't think it. Yeah, it obviously didn't come out yet.
So yeah, that's about it for me as well. Oh, they announced, hey guys, Beat Saber is coming to PSVR 2, as if that's a system seller. I mean, that's why you play a PSVR, or that's why you play VR. One of the reasons you play VR is Beat Saber. But
yeah,
but if you know what Beat Saber is, you probably already have a PSVR, or you have a Quest, or whatever other VR. Like, I just don't get. And they're like, oh yeah, we got a new DLC pack for Queen, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I owned the game, I would definitely do some Queen. Man, I'd be exhausted by the end of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
But that is out now, by the way, as well. So I don't know. There is a bunch of PSVR stuff that just did nothing for me. Arizona Sunshine 2, Crossfire, Sierra Squad. I didn't feel like we didn't even really see what that was.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I hate to be, again, sounding like we're just dogging on Sony. I was somewhat underwhelmed. Just the things that I was excited about, I already knew were happening. It's not Sony's fault that the voice actor for Alan Wake said that it's coming out in October, which that's the news, right? Is when the release date for that game is. I mean, we got to see some gameplay here that we didn't.
But the news for me was seeing gameplay for the first time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we knew that felt like a for sure announcement. Although nobody said I don't think anybody predicted that, did they?
What, Alan Wake 2?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone did.
Which is weird because I
said, "Mark my words, I guarantee you'll see Uncharted." I remember I said that.
Yeah.
What was your other one?
Well, I was hoping for a Bloodborne PS5 port.
Yeah, I think all of us, every one of our answers was wrong.
Yeah, I said that they were going to announce that Sony bought Square Enix.
Right.
Yeah, and I shared that with you.
And then something about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, showing gameplay from Final Fantasy VII.
Hey, and I was right because I countered that and I said they wouldn't do that because that would take the wind out of FF16's marketing sales.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right, man.
Oh, well, I wasn't right about a lot else. Oh, I was not. Nope. I know there's an Uncharted game. We all do. It was in their. They put out a 38-page document to their stockholders.
And
they were talking about future franchises, and the Uncharted logo was there.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's happening.
What's that, Alyssa?
I said that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
That they had the logo in there. Like, no, but really, I am looking forward to another Uncharted game. I love that series.
See, Nate's daughter. Yeah, I wish I was more excited for Spider-Man 2, but I don't know. I've fallen out. I'm not rightly in love with Spider-Man like I used to be anyway. So,
but it's also not like you're not going to play it.
No, of course I'm going to play it. It was just you said you compared it to how you love Zelda. That is not the case for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's not your baby anymore.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, I loved it to death like 5 years ago, but not the way everyone seemed to think I did. But the point was, it's hard to get excited for Spider-Man stuff when it's constant. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't live in the comic book world like you do. Is it a comic thing that's always out there, or is it cross universe?
You got all the Spider-Verse movies. You got the Venom movie. You got a Kraven movie coming. You got the Spider-Man. No, you got all the MCU Spider-Man stuff is constantly churning out. It's just there's nothing special about Spider-Man anymore.
Gotcha.
Just like there's nothing special about Star Wars anymore. So it's kind of hard to get excited for Star Wars. When you beat an IP into the ground, it's hard for me personally to get excited about said IP.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, everybody that wrote in for that topic. It's always fun to take a deep dive on some of these showcases or live streams and whatnot. Next week's topic, we're going to go back. Since it's the first of the month, we're going to do community questions. So get those questions ready. I'll be posting a video on TikTok as well as put it on Facebook and Discord, and get those questions in. One of our favorite episodes to do when everybody gets to just ask whatever they want. It's a lot of fun. So, but that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we are done for the evening?
Yeah, I just finished the show The English on Amazon Prime. It is a Western starring Emily Blunt and Chesky Spencer. Yes, because Scott's laughing because the only things I watch or read or anything are Westerns now.
Yep.
Well, that's fine by me.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Can't get enough of them. But this is a good one. Emily Blunt plays an English aristocrat who comes over to America to find the man who killed her son.
Nice.
But it's kind of a cool, she's got a cool transformation over the course of the show from being afraid, of America to starting to murder people, taking charge. It's pretty cool. And her look is super cool because she's still like a fancy lady, right? So she loves her dresses, but also they're impractical in the Wild West. So she like needs to wear pants, but she has this cool little like outfit she puts together. I don't know why it's sticking out to me. It seems dumb to talk about now, but where she kind of like sews the dress to the back of her pants, so it almost looks like a kind of like a cape. I don't know. It's a cool look. You have to see it to see what I'm talking about, I think.
Nice.
I feel like
The English?
Yeah, it's called The English. It's Amazon Prime. It's only 6 episodes.
I love that.
Gets in, tells a story, gets out.
Yeah.
It's great. The Chesky Spencer, I haven't seen him in anything else. He's the Pawnee lead of this show, like kind of shepherding it through. He's great too. Total Old West hard ass vibes to him.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Westerns, I just happened to see a video clip, probably on TikTok. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2 as much as you have, but there was a story beat that was inside a house where you were talking to a woman and something glitched in the game where he was able to set something on fire accidentally. And it set one of the NPC players on fire while they were in the middle of a cutscene. It was the funniest thing because she's literally like just having a normal conversation, completely engulfed in flames. And then after she's extinguished, she actually walks up to you to finish the conversation, whatever conversation you're having. And one of her arms has literally burned off. And she looks like one of the mutant things from Fallout. Like her face is just like clearly burned. And she's just like, all right, let's go. And it was the funniest thing. I almost sent it to you just because I couldn't remember if you used TikTok or not. But anyway,
I have it just for the ghost stuff. But that's why real time cutscenes are superior. You can have goofy stuff like that, or I like in Hogwarts where like someone is just like pouring their heart out to you about like their family tragedy, and like there's just like some dude walking in the background trying to find his broom or whatever. It's just so goofy.
That is pretty good. Alyssa, how about you? Any recommendations?
I've just started watching season 2 of The Great. I'm very far behind because I watched the first season when it came out, and then I just decided not to watch the second season when it came out. And then I just, had wild hair and decided, I'm finally going to watch season 2 of The Great because season 3 just came out. But it's so good. It's really good. It's a satirical take on the story of Catherine the Great. And even bills itself as an occasionally true story, which a lot of it is fabricated, but there are some actual, parts from history about Peter and Catherine the Great. But seeing Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult bounce off each other is just always a delight. Everything about this show is just exquisite. I mean, the costume design, the set design, it's funny, it's dark. There's just a lot going on, and it's really good. Kind of kicking myself for waiting so long to watch season 2, but better late than never.
Nice. As for me, I canceled my Audible subscription this week.
Did you have too many tokens built up?
I only had 2, but I had so many. I was really good about buying books and then, just putting them on my backlog. And I was like, I got to just take a break. Like they used to let you do like a 3-month break where you just take 3 months off and then it'll auto renew in under the 3 months so you get caught up. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to like have this ticking clock on my head. I just want to go at these at my own pace. So, but I had 2 credits to spend, and I just could not. There was a book you recommended I was considering, but I was just in the mood for doing that thing that I do where I read a book that a movie was based on. Where it's something that I'm familiar with, and because I'd love to do that compare and contrast thing. So I decided to pick up randomly one of my favorite movies of all time is The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, okay.
So I picked up the Tom Clancy book, which is interestingly enough, there's a lot of different stuff that goes on. That is an instance where and maybe it's not fair to say this because I love the movie so much and I've seen the movie so many times. It could be just an instance of whichever one you see first, but I feel like the movie was told a better story than the book did. With that said, it's still a worthy listen. It's the first Tom Clancy book I've read. He's a very technical writer when it comes to how the military works, right. And how he actually gives very good detailed descriptions of how like the Caterpillar drive works. I don't know if that's legit or not, but it's like, oh, I can kind of see how that works. So that's fun. Like I said, there's some things the way it was written in the movie I think are better, but it is so much fun to go back and compare. What's really interesting is you guys have seen the movie, right?
No, I have not.
No? Zach, have you seen it?
No. Oh, no, I have not. Sorry, no.
Oh, really? Oh, man. If you ever want to watch a Tom Clancy one, that is a great starting point. It's the first book that introduces Jack Ryan as well. So
okay.
It's when he's supposed to be younger, but he was played by Alec Baldwin when Alec Baldwin was in his 30s or something. So, but anyway, the Russian subcommand captain, his name is, in the movie, they pronounce it Ramius. So I'm listening to the audiobook and the narrator pronounces it Ramius, which threw me off. And so I actually contacted Thomas, who lives out in the Netherlands, and I asked him, he's got a friend that speaks Russian. I said, can you tell me, like, have I been lied to like all these years with the movie, or are they just doing it wrong? And he's like, actually, it is pronounced Ramius, not Ramius. I was like, that's really interesting. I just feel lied to. But then I listened to more of the audiobook, and whenever he reads from the American perspective, he pronounces it Ramius. But when he pronounces it from the Russian perspective, he pronounces it Ramius.
Dude, that's an awesome touch.
Which I found super fascinating to me. Like so I wasn't lied to. It's just they pronounce it different in different countries. So anyway, I finished that book up this week, and it is, even though it sounds like I'm talking it down, it was an interesting listen for me. I really like doing that. And I also bought Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I read it when I was a kid, and but I don't remember how the book goes and what the differences are. So
it's supposed to be quite different, right? Or am I mistaken?
So far, it is. Like the opening scene is the opening scene from Lost World.
Oh, okay.
Which is bizarre to me. Like the thing from the second movie is how the first book starts. What's really funny though is it's the exact same narrator that did Hunt for October.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So like I feel like I'm just like it's the exact same dude reading to me, which is.
I guess you're just a fan of that guy now.
Apparently.
But from my understanding, Tom Clancy was all of the stuff you're going to read is like how stuff actually works.
That's cool. I don't know if I'll do more, but I'll rewatch the movie right after just because I've seen it 100 times. But dude, that movie is so good. You really should check it out. Right, outside of like a Scot playing a Russian, which is a little distracting. Like Sean Connery talks like Sean Connery, and he's a Russian sub captain.
Nobody's going to convince Sean Connery to do anything. He's talking with this
Scottish brogue, but he's Russian.
Yeah. I mean, he just sounds like
Moscow. Moscow's my favorite city.
Hot shingles, you say?
Oh, my homeland of Russia.
Yeah, he talks like that, and it's kind of distracting. But he does speak Russian. Like, they do this really cool thing in that movie to explain I don't want to ruin it because it is just this tiny little detail. Because when you're seeing it from the Russian perspective, they speak Russian. But you're not going to watch, I don't want to watch an entire movie subtitled, right? And they do something to change it that is it is so clever, and I've never seen it done in a movie. It's really cool.
Okay.
You should watch that movie, man. It's so good.
All right, I'll put it on the list.
Got to be streaming somewhere.
It'll be on my list too.
It's so good. And Alec Baldwin looks like a baby.
Yeah.
So freaking young in that movie. Oh, and Crusher played Crusher in Next Generation. Not Wesley, but the mom, Dr. Crusher.
I don't know.
She's in it for like 45 seconds, but
Scott
Glenn is in it.
Dude, we're gonna see it already. Jeez,
it's so good. All right. Well, Zach and Alyssa, thank you so much. It has been a lot of fun. Looking forward to next week already with community questions. But until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outside. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.